Hi, it's Darren from Martin Deerline. Today we're talking about the 615P pickup. Basically this is a really nice pickup header, works well. A few things you need to know about it for adjustments. One of the things I always get guys to do is to start looking and checking to make sure that your bolts are all tight as far as for the fingers and the spacer bars. They've done a nice job of tying these belts together for things like in canola, so you're not losing as much canola in between the belt spacings and that. But a few things you do need to realize with that is sometimes these bolts become loose. You'll notice here we've got one even missing on this particular header right now. It's a good idea to grab your 10mm socket and go around and check those bolts for tension, because of course when they spin loose and fall off inside the header, the bolts basically are trapped under the rollers here, and it makes holes in your belts, and basically it can put you down over something so simple as some simple maintenance on your belts. So that's the information on the belts. This hold down is of course hydraulically actuated, so that's simple and adjustable from the cab. Your wheels on these headers, of course, that's an infinitely adjustable adjustment on here where you get your 18mm wrench and you can slide these wheels up and down. One of the things I tell guys is to make sure that when you're adjusting these, some things are out of your control, like the contours of the land, but what is in your control is to make sure that these wheels are set at the same height distance. Just like a snowmobile track or anything like that, if that one wheel's pushing down farther than the other, it has that tendency as you're running down the field to have the belts run one way or the other, and of course you want these belts running nice and straight, not up against the sides. Leveling those belts out, that's a critical part of it. So with that, that's the important of the wheel adjustment. Of course you want this set up depending on your crop and conditions and how soft the ground is, but you always want this so that your teeth are not dragging in the ground, picking up mud and putting it into the combine, as well as foreign objects. The belt adjustments are here on the side. Again, we're telling guys to make sure you don't over tighten those belts. You want them just tight enough to drive the header belts. Over tightening them just causes grief as well. With that as well, of course your big chain drive is on the side here. Underneath the shield, you want to make sure your chain is tensioned. Nice big robust 880 chain. Your height potentiometers are here and here on each side for adjustments. If your airbags are out of adjustment, you'll get a code in the cab telling you left or right height sensor is out of adjustment. These airbags of course hold air, and what you do is with the header off the ground like we are right now, you'll add air pressure to them so that it brings the header, this bar, up to here. So when you look at this indicator here, as that header comes up, as you put air into it, it will level out, and you want this riding along here because that's your air suspension for the header, and that keeps your header nice and light and following the ground well. It's also important, again, when you're up in the air like this, to make sure that you have it adjusted correctly side to side so your belts track properly. Slip clutches on these are doing very well. We're not having any issues with them at all, really. Again, your two sets of belts, pretty simple. Auger finger timing. To adjust your auger finger timing, it's over on this side of the header. Basically with the auger at the 6 o'clock position at the bottom, you want those auger fingers 5/8 of an inch from the floor. How you would adjust them is right here on the eccentric. Here you would loosen this and turn that, and of course that twists the shaft and adjusts where the fingers come out. These headers, the other thing with these headers, of course, you'll notice we have a crop catcher on the front of this one. That's a very good investment. Helps keep all the material that blows over and builds up on the feeder house, and actually a lot of it ends up on the ground and turns into loss. Stops that from going over top and lets it drop down into the header. Again, that's big time stuff for saving grain, which is what it's all about. That in a nutshell is your 615 header.